Welcome. We have total body strength coming up. For equipment wise, we need definitely one set of dumbbells, but I always recommend two. We are going to be doing lateral raises, so I would definitely recommend a lighter weight for that, and then a little bit heavier for the lower body things. So I have a lighter set of dumbbells and a heavier kettlebell here, so that's what I could be using. But if you have a kettlebell, no problem. Like, you can use dumbbells. We're going to do 3 rounds, 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. I almost said 30 seconds of rest. I wish, right? So then, whoops, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with our demos here. So first thing, we're gonna start off with some alternating overhead presses. So we're gonna have those dumbbells at our shoulders, one arm at a time coming up, and then the other arm, and just alternating here, making sure that core is nice and tight, our back is flat, elbows are slightly in front of the shoulders. So that's going to be our first movement. And then we're going to go ahead and move into some lateral goblet squats. So for this one, you can have 1 dumbbell, you can have 2, kettlebell if you want, whatever you want to use. We want to hold it underneath our chin. We're going to stay nice and wide, and we're going to shift our weight to one side so hips are going back, push the ground away. So it's just like a regular squat where knees over that second toe, push the ground away. We want to feel it in the glutes and in our quads. And then we're also going to get a slight stretch in our inner thigh there. So that's going to be our second movement. And then we're going to do some lateral raises here. What we're going to do is we're going to hold at the top while we alternate. So this is why we're probably going to want lighter weights for this one. So we're going to have our arms straight out to the side, pinkies up. One arm goes down and up while the other stays there. So we're going to get a little bit of isometric engagement here with the hold, and then lots of muscle fiber recruitment here. So that's going to be our third movement. And then we're going to go ahead and get on the ground for the rest of the circuit. So first thing we're going to do is glute bridge marches. So laying on our back, hips up to the ceiling, one leg at a time coming up. So we're working the glutes, we're working our core, exhaling, driving those knees up and down. So that's the first one. And then this is where we can use, you can use a heavier weight. I'm going to use my kettlebell for this one. We're going to do some toe touches here. So we're going to have our toes, or sorry, our feet more so towards the ceiling, legs nice and straight. Exhale, come up, touch those toes, and back down. So we really want to use the core to lift our body up, and then lower it nice and slow back down. And then finally, I'm going to try with this one. We're going to do dead bugs with our core assist. So still having our dumbbells here, or kettlebell, whatever you want to use if you want something heavier. Knees above those hips, belly button into the ground. We're going to extend out, hold for 3 seconds. We got 1, 2, 3. Exhale back in and alternating sides. 1, 2, 3. Exhale and come back in. So for that one, probably going to have to switch to the dumbbells. My core was really shaking just doing that real quick. So that's going to be our whole workout for today. So like I said, 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. I almost said 30 again. And then we're doing that 3 times through. So we can go ahead and get started with our warm up. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some quad rocks here with our adductor stretch to start. So on the hands and knees, keeping that core nice and tight, sticking one foot out to the side, keep that pinky toe on the ground. And we're going to inhale, rock back, and exhale back up to that starting position. So we're going to do this a few times, rocking back, and exhale, rocking forward, inhale, rock back, and exhale forward. And we're going to do one more, rocking back and exhaling, coming forward. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that same thing on the other side. So switching our legs, keep that pinky toe on the ground, and inhale, rock back, and exhale, going forward, rocking back, keeping that core nice and tight as we rock back and come forward. We don't want any dips in our back. Inhaling, rocking back, and exhale forward, and one more, rocking back, and exhaling, coming forward. All right. Next up, we're going to do just a little bit of rotation, opening up our spine, getting our back and our shoulders a little bit more warmed up. So staying on those hands and knees, we're going to go ahead, inhale, reach through. I have my right hand in between the left arm, left leg. So we're going to inhale, reach through, and exhale, open up. And inhale, reach through. Reach a little further this time. Exhale, opening up. Making sure to watch that hand the whole time. And one more, inhale, reach through. And exhale, opening up. And then we can go ahead and plant that hand back up underneath the shoulder. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So we're gonna inhale, reach through. And exhale, opening up. Still watching our hand, inhaling, reaching through. Reaching further each time. Exhale, opening up. Really stretching out that back right now. And last one, reaching through. And exhale, opening up. And then we can go ahead and plant that hand back up under the shoulder. And then we are ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna take one layer off. I was freezing this morning, still a little cold. Starting to warm up a little bit, so we'll peel off one layer. All right, so we're getting ready here. I'm gonna get the timer going, 45 seconds of work, starting with our alternating overhead presses. 3, 2, 1, and go. So we got our dumbbells here. And definitely feel free if you would like to start off maybe with your heavier dumbbells as our body is not taxed or tired yet. But I'm sure after this round, when we got the lateral raises, might be a little tired. But again, keeping those elbows out in front of the shoulders, protecting those shoulder joints, making sure our elbows are just slightly below the shoulders, dumbbell next to the shoulders, keeping our shoulder blades pinching that orange so we're nice and tall through the back. 3, 2, 1. All right. So next up we have our lateral goblet squats. So again, you can use a dumbbell or kettlebell, whatever you want. Get a little bit heavier for this one, right underneath the chin. 3, 2, 1. So want to be nice and wide. Push the hips back, push the ground away. Keeping that core nice and tight, going low as we can while keeping our form. And also, I definitely tend to do this the lower I go, the more my chest goes forward. We do want to try and avoid that. So as we're going through the first round, we might not be super warmed up, which is okay. So we can always not go as deep. So our chest is staying up. And then as we go through our circuit, we can definitely get a little bit more range of motion with that proper form. 3, 2, 1. All right, next up, we have our lateral raises with that hold while we alternate. So we're gonna get ready for that. This is like my favorite one. 3, 2, 1. So both arms go up at the top, one hand comes down, and then the other hand. Still want a slight bend in the elbows, slightly in front of the body, still again, just like with our overhead raises, pinkies towards the ceiling, driving with our elbows like we have that glass that's all the way across both the shoulders, breaking it with our elbows. Really being aware too of our core right now. What happens sometimes is if, well, one, if the weight is too heavy, but two, if our core isn't engaged, we'll start to dip. We do not want that. 3, 2, 1. All right, my shoulders are already burning. Love it. All right, we are on the ground next. We got glute bridge marches. This is where we're working on the core, our glutes. 3, 2, 1. So tuck the pelvis, so butt to belly button. Push those hips up Keep that core nice and tight. So what I like to imagine is that either we have like a zipper here, we're zipping the core up as we lift the leg, or if this imagery works for you, pretend like you have a string tied to your core, zip your core up with that string as it pulls the leg up. So we really want that core to be driving the movement. If our core is not engaged, we're not pulling the legs up, we're going to feel that in our hips, which we don't want to. The same thing is going to be for dead bugs as well. Keep going. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, toe touches. So grabbing our weight, if we want to go heavier on this one, feel free to do so. If not, whatever feels good. 3, 2, 1. So that belly button is still pushed into the ground. We're driving through the core, making sure that we're like our upper body here is just to hold the weight. We don't need to reach for our toes with the dumbbell or with your weight. We really want to just use the core, exhale as we come up. Keep that belly button pushed into the ground. That's also going to help us engage our core. You can always reset after each rep. Make sure you're using that core properly. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have dead bugs. So we're going to use the core assist. So grabbing your dumbbells, using your weights, holding at the bottom for 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. So we got knees above the hips. The knees are too far in. It takes the core away. So we want those legs nice out. We extend out. 1, 2, 3. Coming back in. So coming out. 1, 2, 3. Same thing. If you start to feel it in your hips, that means you're letting your leg hang out while using your leg. Really want to keep that core engaged, pulling back in through the core. So we're really going to get a nice core engagement here. We really got to focus on that, pulling that zipper with the string, pulling those legs back in. 3, 2, 1. All right. Oh, I think my core is going to be really sore tomorrow. All right, that is it for round 1. We got alternating overhead presses coming up next. Getting rid of my final layer. 3, 2, 1. So starting off, one arm at a time. Dumbbells right above those shoulders at the bottom. Also really important to keep those wrists nice and straight. So I see pretty often that the wrists are kind of in this position where their back hands towards the wrist or towards the forearms. Want to keep those wrists nice and straight. That's going to help us engage our shoulders. Otherwise, we're just getting a really glorified forearm workout. So keep those wrists straight. It is going to make the movement a little bit harder. So we're going to engage those shoulders a little bit better. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have lateral goblet squats. So we're going to stand nice and wide. We want those toes pointed forward as much as we can, just like with our regular squats. 3, 2, 1. So just like our regular 2-leg squats, we want the same form. So chest up, squeeze that orange, drive the hips back, push the ground away, heel, big toe, little toe, as our knee, the inside part of the knee is directly above our second toe. So it's the same form. This is really just giving us the opportunity to really do a single leg squat without doing, a single leg squat. So we're working one leg at a time. Keep the center of mass on the inside of the knee as well. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have our lateral raises with that hold at the top, alternating sides. Getting ready. 3, 2, 1. One hand going down at a time, slightly in front of the body. You might notice if you try going like straight out and then to the front, you are going to notice a difference in the way you feel your shoulders being engaged. So when we are out in front, we're going to feel that a little bit more on the side part of the delt, which is what we're aiming for here. We're also protecting those shoulder joints, keeping that core nice and tight, keeping our body steady. We're not leaning back and forward, not using momentum. 3, 2, 1. All right. Set the weights down, shake your arms out if you need to. We got glute bridge marches coming up next. 3, 2, 1. So we have belly button into the ground, pushing through our heel, big toe, little toe. We also still want our feet to be about hip width apart here. I, again, often see where the feet are right next to each other. That is not what we want. We want our feet to still be hip width apart, just like with everything. We got our base stance. Exhaling, driving one knee up at a time. Pulling with the zipper and the string, using the core, not the legs. Also really want to drive the opposite heel into the ground, feel that glute engage, and then same thing on the other side. 3, 2, 1. All right, next up we have toe touches. So we're getting our weights, so either the lighter weights, the heavier weights. You can do 1 dumbbell, 2 dumbbells, whatever feels good. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, come up. Again, keep that belly button plastered into the ground. Drive up. Use that core. It does help if we exhale on the way up. Again, focusing on using the core. Our arms are just holding the weight. We're not necessarily pushing the weight, nor are we going super fast that we're using momentum. So if you notice, I do stop after every time I go up, and that's to reset, push my belly button into the ground, engage the core, exhale, come up. 3, 2, 1. All right. Take a breather. We got dead bugs next. Core assist, 3 seconds hold at the bottom. 3, 2, 1. So knees above those hips, belly button into the ground, extend out. 1, 2, 3. Coming back in again. It is really easy to hold the leg out there with your legs. We really want to keep those quads relaxed. Extend out, hold, keep that core engaged, belly button into the ground, pull back in. You will feel a big difference once we start to stop using those legs and we really engage the core. Exhaling, coming back in, holding 3 seconds out. Great job. Finish strong. 3, 2, 1. All right, 2 rounds down, 1 to go. Grabbing our dumbbells, we're getting ready. Last set of alternating overhead presses. 3, 2, 1. One arm at a time. Elbows out in front. I don't know about you, but my shoulders are feeling it from the side raises that we got going on today. Keeping that core engaged. I'm also very much so not cold anymore. I think having 2 layers of jackets on was probably a little intense because I feel like I'm not gonna be able to stop sweating. Also left the space heater on in the office, so I'm just gonna be maybe a little toasty the rest of the day. That is okay. Right, finishing strong, 1 arm at a time. 3, 2, 1. All right. Done with those for the morning. We got lateral goblet squats coming up next. Standing nice and wide, toes forward. Getting ready. 3, 2, 1. So Now that we are in our third round, let's push ourselves, go a little bit deeper into that squat, push the ground away. So if we're going deeper, definitely move a little bit slower. So that way we can make sure that we're keeping that core nice and tight. Our back is flat, chest is up. So when our chest starts to come forward or our back starts to curve, that's when we want to stop the movement going down, pushing the ground away, keeping that form going as low as we can. Push ourselves here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Done with those. We got our lateral raises, holding, alternating. Last set of these. 3, 2, 1. We're getting those arms ready for the summer once it warms up. Even though it has been not warm here all week, even though it was gorgeous last weekend. But now is the time to really work towards, that summer look, if that's our goal, or building our muscle for summer, whatever the goal is. We always want to give ourselves lots of time for that. So we don't want to start 2 weeks beforehand. We want to start a few months, not even 2 months, like maybe 3 to 4 months. Takes a long time to make progress. We got to give ourselves that time. 3, 2, 1. All right. Done with those for the day. We got glute bridge marches coming up next. 3 more movements. We're halfway done. 3, 2, 1. Push those hips up. Keep that pelvis tucked. So think butt to belly button. Pushing the belly button into the spine. 1 knee goes up at a time. We got our zipper with our string. Pulling it up. Keeping those quads nice and loose. I feel like it's when we start to maybe squeeze through the quads to try and lift those legs up. It's when we start to feel it in the legs. Keep those quads nice and loose. Feet are still hip width apart. Finishing strong. Nice job. 3, 2, 1. All right. We got toe touches and then dead bugs. And then we're going to be done for the day. We're going to cool down, do all that good stuff. Getting ready with our weight. 3, 2, 1. So belly button into the ground. Exhale, come up, back down. I want us to take a second, pause at the bottom, reset, back up. It's going to take that momentum out. Going to make sure that we are not using our upper body. Exhaling as we come up. Great job. It does help to take the upper body out if we do, pinch that orange between the shoulder blades, because that's going to make sure that our arms and our shoulder blades aren't coming forward. So that's that motion. If we keep everything nice and tight, we're just lifting up. 3, 2, 1. All right, last movement of the morning. We have dead bugs. 3-second hold at the bottom. Got our core assist going. 3, 2, 1. So knees above those hips. Coming out. 1, 2, 3. Again, keeping those quads nice and loose. Zipping that core up. We got that string attached. Making sure knees are over the hips. Counting to 3 at the bottom. Exhale as we come up. Don't want to hold our breath. Definitely noticing my knees are starting to come forward. Great job. We're almost there. 3, 2, 1. And we are done with today's circuit. Nice job. Go ahead, grab a sip of water if you need it. We're going to go ahead and be on the ground for our cool down. And we're going to cool down with some pretzel because that's going to help us get some low back stretching in, some rotation there. It's going to help. We're going to open up our chest and shoulders, as well as stretch out our quads from those lateral squats. And again, the low back in our hips. So we're going to hit everything with this one. So we only got to do one stretch at the end. So we're on our side, top leg coming up, over and across, knee and ankle on the ground, bottom hand on top of that knee, top hand grabs onto the bottom foot or ankle. We're going to inhale to prepare. And we're going to exhale, bringing that top shoulder towards the ground. We're relaxing into the stretch. Nice big deep inhales in through the nose and into the belly. And then exhale through the mouth, nice and slow. Sighing away our tension. I'm going to breathe into the area that feels the most tight, whatever that is for you. So maybe your shoulders are tight after that, so breathe into the chest. So maybe your low back is tight, or for me, it's my quad that I feel this the most. I'm going to breathe into the belly. Control that breath. Slowing the breath down, slowing the heart rate down. We're going to do one more breath here. And when we're done with that exhale, we can gently release that back leg, return to our sides, and then feel free, you can just roll over. I gotta flip over. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So we have top leg up, over and across, knee and ankle on the ground, bottom arm on top of the knee, top arm grabs bottom foot or ankle, inhale to prepare, and exhale, bringing that top shoulder towards the ground. And as always, that goal is to have both shoulders on the ground. That's why we do this quite often, because it will help us get that shoulder closer. Mine is also, well, maybe yours is close to the ground, but mine is not near the ground. Same thing, if your chest is tight, breathe into the chest, feel everything expand. If your lower half or your back is what's feeling it, definitely breathe into that belly. Sigh away the tension. Relax into the stretch. Slowing that breath down, that's going to help our heart rates calm down after that. Help our body reset to our rest and digest. So we're able to eat, get back to work. Have a nice little reset for the mind and body. We're going to do one more deep breath here. And after that exhale, when we are done, you can release that bottom leg. And feel free to keep lying on the ground, or you can return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. That is going to be all the time we have for today's class.